Welcome back from that break. If you are just joining us, a sports personality here on Atlantic Television Network with Ekpo Temple. This morning, we take a look at everything about Vinicius Junior and how the racist allegation continues to shape his playing career, and more about him on today's edition of the show shall be unraveled. But first off, we have our guest Chuku Solomon joins us this morning. Chuku, welcome to Atlantic Television Sports Personality.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a good day here, and for the people watching right now, I am actually in Abuja, although we're having elections. So if you'll be following the news, we're having elections here in Abuja, but that doesn't stop us from talking sports this morning. So thank you for having me.
Okay, good. Yeah, the election matters has been on for the past 1 week now, and I tell you for sure that we'll get to see how all of that will play out. But let's talk, some lovely stuff here with Vinicius Junior. Now, if you're asking where Vinicius Junior is from, he is from Brazil, born in Sao Concalo. He came from a modest Catholic family. His football journey started with futsal before transforming fully to the faith game at Flamengo. By age of 16, he was already making his professional debut for the Flamingos. Soon after, a record-breaking 46 million euros deal was agreed with Real Madrid, the biggest fee ever paid for an under-18 Brazilian at that time. From poverty to pressure, from promise to expectation, that was what we have seen about that man on your screen there, Vinicius Junior. Let's start from the background, because philosophers will always say that the background or the milieu someone comes from, influences everything about him. Chuku, how does growing up in a poverty-shaped and hunger-driven environment shape the mentality of footballers in Arab? Because he's not the first, to be known to come from a slum, but somehow when they become great, some of these things, how does that shape the mentality and the hunger and what drives these players?
It actually does a lot, because I've seen situations where you look at certain players and you look at their background. It still boils down to the player, no matter what. But when you're looking at where you're coming from and you try to compare with other players, you have no reason to not be successful in that particular endeavor. As a footballer, as you're playing for others. You're not just playing for yourself. If you're not successful, it might eventually affect your family, affect the way they feed. You have a lot of interest in your environment. You want to change things around your environment. But Brazilians are known to want to change the situations of where they are from. Of late, we saw Rafinha go back to his community, try to do some philanthropic acts. Those are the things they are known for. So they are not just playing to just get themselves out of poverty. They are also trying to get their family and also their immediate environment. So that is one thing about players like this, and we've seen it. When you have a not so good background, a poverty-related background, you just want to make it out and also help yourself. So the motivation is there. Although we've seen players too that come from rich family and you see them play, but that doesn't take away the fact that when someone is coming from a proper ground, they want to put in all the effort because they know they have no reason to not be successful. So that's the motivation. The huge motivation is there. And also, like you mentioned at the beginning, you talked about his Catholic background. That is also one thing we can give him kudos for, because Brazilians, we know the lifestyle of some Brazilians. Ronaldinho and a few others in the past. And they go clubbing, they do a lot of social vices that sometimes affect their career, the way they play on the field of play. They do not last. Longevity is one major issue with Brazilians. We've been talking about it for a while. They play a few years and all of a sudden you don't see them at the top of their game anymore because they live a very wayward life. They go clubbing, they do a lot of humanizing, things like this usually affect players. But for Vinicius Junior, it's a different ballgame because he knows that he doesn't have a choice not to be successful because he has the ability to, he has the knowledge, he has the skills, he has the acumen. Having all of this as a footballer, you only need to put your head down and execute the game in a very good fashion. And if you're given the time to play, and if you're cherishing in your club, obviously you will do it. So For Vinicius Junior, his background, it's a major motivation for him, and he will continue being that way, because when you combine background and also religion, it tells a lot. You can't take it away from that. Like religion, background, you're from a very religious home, a Catholic to be exact, and it's quite popular in Brazil, so most Brazilians are actually Catholics. But for Vinicius Junior, the fact that he's from a humble background and also a not so rich background, as well as Catholic, I think it's just a perfect combination, and he will continue to thrive.
And so you think that, moving from futsal so that time to Flamingos, was it that he was playing in futsal, then Flamingos got the attention on him, or how was it? Because I'm looking at how easy it is to move from playing futsal football to main field football, especially in the case of Vinicius Junior.
Yeah, the thing with most Brazilians is that they like local football. So let's just put it as, just like we Nigerians now, we have our own kind of football play on the streets. Futsal, it's a bit more advanced because you're playing with others in a third ground, although it's like a small 5-a-side kind of football, 5 players each on a small court, and a small goalpost. It's a bit different, and you need to show your skill. It's a bit more difficult compared to the regular 11 players on the field of play in a football game. So for futsal now, it actually helps him too, because if you see the way he plays, I don't think we've seen a more skillful player since we had Ronaldo leave the footballing scene. I think since Ronaldo, I don't think we've seen a more skillful player. Vinicius Junior is showing us that, and futsal is one of the major motivation, and also one of the major reasons why he's at this level. Because when you look at the way he plays, someone like this has actually played in an enclosed encounter. He has played with a few people, and the style of play is somehow linked to futsal. So when you look at someone like Mbappe, look at someone like Olise, very skilled players, their game is quite different. Vinicius Junior will come at you. Of late, we've been lacking footballers with their ability to come at players, to approach players and do what they want to do. They are very scared. They just want to pass the ball around, they run behind defenders and cross the ball, find a player to pass the ball to. Those are good, no doubt. But facing players, like get to dribble, want to see you do something like that, is one of the things futsal actually done to the footballing style of Vinicius Junior. So I think the transition obviously wasn't easy, but it's also why he is currently this way. Because I think if Vinicius Junior would have actually transitioned from a regular footballing playing, maybe from the under 15, under 12, or started as an academy player for Flamengo, then progressed to the level of senior player, I don't think he would have been this way, or he would have gotten to this level. So futsal gave him the background and also the push for him to be this successful.
So what about how when Real Madrid came for him? How was the Flamingos shaping him, and at that level Real Madrid getting him? When you look back now, you think that Real Madrid truly had it all going. It's not a gamble, but rather more like a promising star that they've achieved in Vinicius Junior with the level of achievement they've had with him.
Yeah, absolutely. For Vinicius Junior, when Real Madrid came for him, it wasn't up to 18, and they had to wait, pay a huge amount of money for him. They were trying to build something. We were actually surprised Real Madrid even went for Vinicius Junior, because Madrid had always been known, like we've always known Madrid to be a big name kind of team. They were changing, like they needed to do something totally different. They had the BBC playing, but they needed to add something, and they were thinking about the future. After Vinicius Junior, they got Rodrigo, and we were seeing later on they got the guy that went to Lyon on loan. They are currently focused more on the future, and you could give all credits to Ancelotti for doing something like that, because Real Madrid have always been known to be a big name football, and they want big names. And the way Vinicius Junior has actually slot into that particular big name nomenclature. Obviously, you know this guy is made to be a star. He's a star on his own. Real Madrid went there, they were hoping to get someone that is okay and would help them grow, paying such amount of money. It's not even up to the amount Barcelona paid for Neymar. Neymar was quite bigger. And we saw what happened, injury prone, went to PSG, and he's still playing, but the number of injuries is just so much. But Vinicius Junior is less injury prone, and he's been leading that side. He has helped them to win 2 Champions League. So at this point in time, you might say he has surpassed expectations, because I don't think any footballer at that early stage, aside someone like Lionel Messi, who started with Barcelona, they helped him go, helped in his medication, helped him become a better footballer, and he won loads of trophy with that side. I don't think we've seen a situation where a player joined a club at a very young age and in less than 8 years has achieved a lot. He should have even won the Ballon d'Or when Rodri was giving up. Lots of people had that argument. It was a fierce argument that people felt, okay, Vinicius Junior should have won it. So Real Madrid got more than they asked for, and they want to keep him. We saw what happened with the situation, him and Alonso. Alonso, personally, I feel Real Madrid had to choose between him and Alonso because they wanted to leave. The relationship was going south, and they needed to make a decision. And they felt this guy has been with us for a while. He has helped us. Won about 3 La Liga, 2 Champions League, and he's a winner. And he wants to stay here with us. So we need to make him happy and let him continue with this side. Give him that support in it. The combination himself and Mbappe is going well for Real Madrid, but Mbappe is scoring more goals. But if you look at since the current coach Abelua came into that side, Mr. Junior has been doing what he's scoring goals. We saw what happened within the last 4-5 games. He has scored more goals than a few months now. So currently we're seeing him do well. They got more than they asked for.
Vinicius Junior, his early days in Spain were difficult. Critics did attack his finishing. The media questioned his end product. But during the 2021-22 season, everything changed. He formed a devastating partnership with Karim Benzema, and he scored the winning goal in the 2022 Champions League final against Liverpool. Then scored again in the 2024 final, and from there, he has inherited the iconic number 7 shirt once worn by legendary Cristiano Ronaldo and Raul, who was named the best FIFA men's player in 2024 and runner-up for the Ballon d'Or, from raw talent truly, like you said, to global superstar. So a lot has changed for Vinicius Junior, and the big question that Konodo ask is, at what point was this breakthrough? Because like I read, some of the media attacked him because the fine-tuning, his playing style, like you said, he played in futsal football and all that, Flamingos. Brazilian football is different from European football. So at what point did Ancelotti, change that pattern? Because sometimes we saw him, apparently many fans of Real Madrid got exhausted with his playing nature, dribbling skill very nice, but the end product was very poor. So you think it was a tactical idea or more like a mentorship from Carlo Ancelotti that changed this man to becoming a talismanic player and more dangerous against defenders?
Yes, I think so. If you look at the way Vinicius Junior operates, he is a winger and predominantly a winger. But now, Ancelotti actually changed the pattern now. So Real Madrid, they had this 4-3-3 style of play with Ronaldo, Benzema, and also the BBC combination. Then Barcelona also had theirs with the MSN. But when the era ended, Benzema still remained in that side, and they needed someone to partner Benzema up front. And so they had to look for a way to push Vinicius Junior up for him to partner Benzema, and they had this formidable duo. So instead of the trio now, it was a duo. So Ancelotti, you would give him credit as one of the biggest push for Vinicius Junior. He actually helped Vinicius Junior a lot to develop his game. When he joined Real Madrid, July 18, he was officially presented into the side, and he had issues adapting into the footballing play. Although it's something we've seen for donkey years, where players would come into his side and find it difficult to adapt. But Brazilian players and the Spanish league is usually not a big issue. The relationship between the Spanish league and the Brazilian league is quite huge. We see loads of movement between the Spanish player, sorry, the Brazilian player come to the Spanish league. So Mr. Junior coming to the Spanish La Liga wasn't a big deal. But for a team like Real Madrid with loads of expectation, the pressure was just too much for him. He needed a coach that would believe in him and put him in the right position and give him the right motivation for him to try. The way Ancelotti actually did his thing with Real Madrid, he made sure players were given the go-ahead to do what they want to do. There were no limitations. So unlike Guardiola's style of play, where he would want to condition your style of play to fit his pattern, Ancelotti is quite different. He wants his players, he believes in them and wants them to showcase themselves on the field of play. And they do not want to make him lose that particular trust in them. The expectation is high and they want to keep it even higher. So when you trust a player so much, the player would want to showcase themselves and do even more than they normally do on the field of play. So that's one thing we saw with Ancelotti. He is one of the biggest person that helped Vinicius Junior's career at Real Madrid. And since then, he has transitioned to be that player everybody wants to get. When he had issues with Madrid, he had to look for a way to settle it. It's not today he's been having issues with Real Madrid. He feels he has earned this place. No doubt he has earned this place, because for a side like Real Madrid that is so big, loads of coaches have come into their side, they've been sacked, let go of. And you know, the players, if you're not managing the players, you find it hard to remain there as a coach. Someone mentioned that in Real Madrid, you learn to manage the players. You're not managing as a manager now, you're managing the players individually. You look for the ones that would cause more trouble, the top guys, the big guys, because you know you can't manage the side without them. They need to be cool, calm, collected for you to manage that side. Then you find a way to make them happy. The moment you're not making them happy, they're not playing more games, you're putting them on the bench, you're looking for other players to field instead of them, they start complaining. If your team is not winning, all of a sudden you'll be let go of, because club sides usually few coaches are to blame whenever teams are not performing well. But for Vinicius Junior, Ancelotti relationship, I think that's one of the best things that happened to him. If Ancelotti did not manage Real Madrid for a while, I don't think Vinicius Junior would have achieved what he achieved, because they had to give him that trust and allow him play in a very utility position where he can do what he wants to do. Every other players have limitations, but Vinicius Junior was given the go-ahead to just express himself on the field of play at any point in time, and what happened. So Real Madrid, even when they were underdogs, Vinicius Junior would pull up something magnificent and they would get goals. Real Madrid never had like the superstars, but they were winning Champions League. The motivation was there. Ancelotti instilled that motivation to the players, into the players, for them to want to play like champions. So even when they're playing teams that are better than them, because they gave them the go-ahead to just showcase themselves on the field of play, the players eventually come out winners. So that's the thing. Ancelotti, Vinicius Junior, good relationship. Until date, it's still working, because every coach that comes into their side, they want to get the most out of Vinicius Junior. So they allow him just do what he wants to do on the field of play, and it eventually helps the side.
Let's talk about his nationality. As much as I agree with you when it comes to his level of achievement with Real Madrid, especially at age 25. You look back at his native, nation, where he comes from. Brazilian national team used to be known for greatness. It's difficult to talk about the World Cup without mentioning Brazil, but in the last 1 decade, we have not seen that beauty. These days, Brazil looks very ordinary. And when you have a player like Vinicius Junior, one expects that, having played in different tiers of age grade football for the Brazilian team, you know, that he should be one of the shining spotlight. But somehow, on the level of achievement, one cannot rate the Brazilian team at equated with the likes of Spain, big teams in the world, because they have not performed optimally. But you have players like Vinicius Junior, you have big name players in the Brazilian national team. What is wrong with the Brazilian national team, even when you have players like Vinicius Junior? Why is it difficult for them to translate what they do for their club side to their national team?
Not every player would eventually be legends or top players for their national team. It's a different ballgame. It's a different terrain. You spend more time with your club side than your national side. And if you're from a nation where they have other big names, so if you look at the Brazilian national side, you would argue that other players are almost as big as Vinicius Junior. You would make cases for someone like Rafinha. You make cases for other players too in that side. Casemiro is still playing in that side. You look at other players from different parts of Europe. Guimarães is still there. Paqueta is still there. You look at the defense. Brazil national team right now, they're struggling. They've struggled for a long time because when they had the Samba boys, the Ronaldinho era, the
Roberto Carlos, Marcelo.
Yes, it has changed. Things have changed. We're seeing younger players with ego issue. Back then, those players had ego, but they were coming together to play as a team. They wanted to win games, and they had the right manager to make them gel as a team. But right now, Brazil, they've changed different managers. They're trying to get the right starting 11. They have players spread across Europe. Now they're finding a way to bring players in the Brazilian team as well as players around Europe to play together. So it's difficult. Back in the days, you find very few players in Europe and more players in the Brazilian league. Or you find a 50-50 situation. But right now you're seeing a situation where more players are in Europe and they find a way to slot maybe one or two players from their league. The style of play too is quite different. For Real Madrid right now, Vinicius Junior is the number one man and they play to his strengths. Although we talk about Mbappe is more or less a goal scorer. He's also, you can say, okay, arguably that he is the number one man, but personally I feel Vinicius Junior is the number one player at Real Madrid. Mbappe is a good goal scorer, prolific player, but both of them find a way to together and operate together. But for the Brazilian national team, Rafinha plays for Barcelona, different style of play. Comes down to the Brazilian national team, playing alongside Vinicius Junior, who they fight virtually every day when they're playing against each other. A Clásico is a war on its own. Look at the other players playing for them. The number 9 position has always been a major issue for the Brazilian side. For a while, since Ronaldo de Lima left that side, they find it difficult to get a prolific striker. They had Pato at some points, they had Fabiano at some points, and a few other players, but they've been lacking in that area. So right now, they want to find someone that could fit in that position because they've always played with a 9. The Brazilian national team, they've always operated with a 9, but it's been difficult. They brought down Ancelotti. I think one of the reasons they brought Ancelotti to that side is to help the side and also to get Vinicius Junior at his best. But they've been struggling. We're going to see the World Cup this year. I think they have a say in this particular World Cup. For a while, they've not had a manager where we know is a winner and a manager that have won loads of trophies. So right now, they're going to the World Cup with a manager like Ancelotti and a side filled with players that are doing well. Rafinha is doing well on his own, but the big question will now be how would they put these players together to operate at their best. So that's one thing. We know Ancelotti knows how to get the best out of players, but it's mostly for the Real Madrid player. He has not really managed a style of Barcelona or managed Barcelona players. So, and Barcelona play different football entirely. The tiki-taka football, which is quite different from the style of play of Ancelotti as a manager, as well as Ancelotti at Real Madrid. So I think that's also the issue is facing at this point in time. Managing players that are playing in the Premier League. He has a few Premier League players. He has a few PSG player, Marquinhos from PSG, and also a few Spanish players. So when he's trying to bring all of them together, it's a bit difficult for him. And he's not, I think he's less than a year into that side, and he needs a bit of time. So let's just give him time. I think they're going to do it, but I don't think they're going to win the World Cup because we have sides like France that are hoping, okay, they've lost to Argentina the last time. They want to see if they can win it based on the kind of stars they have in that side. They have like obviously better stars than Brazil and a few other countries around the world. So for Vinicius Junior, playing in Brazil is quite different from playing at Real Madrid. He is the number one person at Real Madrid. They see him as someone they do not joke with. At the Brazilian national team, it's different because he's playing with other established players, other big names, and they're playing for other club sides. Different style of play, different pattern. He wants to be the number one man. Vinicius Junior wants the ball to be with him almost all the time. He's a playmaker, he's a dribbler of the ball, and he just wants to operate and shine. Even if the team is winning, Vinicius Junior is not with the ball, he's not usually up. So he wants the ball to always be with him, and he wants to orchestrate play, which is quite different because you have other players that can do that. So I just hope Ancelotti would have the ability to get these players to operate at their best and also play as a team. That's what they need right now. If they can play as a team, then we might see Vinicius Junior do almost the same thing he's doing at Real Madrid at the Brazilian national team in terms of winning trophies and also winning games.
Now, let's wrap up conversation as we move straight to what transpired over the midweek, where, he scored a goal, celebrated, and was yellow carded for over-celebrating or inciting the audience or the crowd. And then what happened next was, we saw, the guy, Guanluca, came out to make a comment, and a lot of argument about whether he actually heard right. The guy called him a monkey or abused him racially, and that allegation is still on. Investigations are on from UEFA, but what do you make of that very, encounter? And do you think that, and why do you think that he is a subject of racism, especially in this? Maybe because he's a subject, and over time, a lot of issues around racism are around him, and so, he just, because the guy has denied that he never made a comment of such nature to him, and another person thinks that, come on, we cannot have Eusebio, one of the biggest black players to have ever graced the colors of Benfica, and then have Benfica players, abuse players, of their kind. So, what do you make of all of this racial abuse on this man, Vinicius Junior?
He has had 20 situations since he joined Real Madrid. So he's very prone to racial abuse. You might ask why that number. Some players, they've only had maybe one or two racial abuse situations in their entire career. But Vinicius Junior is a different ballgame. Almost every 3, 4, 5 months is going to have one or two issues of being abused racially. He had one in the Copa del Rey, so in less than a month, he's had about 2 major cases of being racially abused. I don't think I am surprised with the numbers because of the way he is playing. We've not seen black players do so well at the world stage, at the global level. Vinicius Junior almost won the Ballon d'Or. And if you look at the style of play, he's a dribbler of the ball, and look at his skin color. People get pissed, people get angry by skillful players. They're not just doing so well on the field of play, they're also humiliating opponents. Vinicius Junior has faced loads of defenders, loads of clubs. He would come at you, he would face you, go past you easily. And that is one thing players and also opponents as well as fans don't like. Sometimes he overdo some of these things, like he does it a bit too much when he tries to humiliate those teams. And fans usually get pissed with things like that. When they see someone being too over skillful on the field of play, they tend to get a bit more angry and agitated because they feel, okay, you should just pass the ball, do what you want to do, score goals, no doubt. But this guy likes to make people feel bad, which is normal, it's football. But now, I feel we might need to calm him down, because with what he's saying, I saw him talking about his racist execution. That is a bit harsh. But for someone who has faced loads of racist slur and a lot of racist issues of late, just less than 8 years into the side, he's had like 20 racist issue. I feel they might need to call him to order, because we have other players to play, no doubt. But when it comes to his success level, that's why he's having this issue. With success comes a lot of issues. Success brings a lot of how would I put it now? So
envy, more like envy and hatred.
Yeah, enemies usually come, and people usually get envious of you and what you're doing. So, but if you look at players like Messi and how they're calm character, so you can't compare Messi's character with Vinicius Junior. Some players are a bit more outspoken and they want to showcase themselves more. Messi is a calm, cool, collected player. You won't really see racial abuse, although his skin color is not really dark, so Messi is white. But we've seen players in the past. I'm not saying Vinicius Junior is a cause. Racism is not something that should be condoned at any point in time. It shouldn't at any point in time. But I just feel you should focus on this game. You should be more focused on this game. Just do what you want to do. Don't get the fans agitated, because racism is something that is almost impossible to take away in football. It's been decades of different campaigns trying to end racism, but we're still seeing racism even at players that you least expected, because you might see one fans or two fans or 10 fans that are not happy with you and they want to do it. They want to go out there and make you understand that I don't like you, I see you as this, I see you as that. Those things would eventually happen. But if it continues like this, it might affect his style of play and also his performance on the field of play. So he needs to understand that do less in terms of getting people pissed. Focus on the field of play. Celebrations to get fans agitated, get teams agitated. Just celebrate in a very nice manner. I feel the people managing him will need to find a way to bring the controversy to a very minimal level, if they can help him understand that for you to exist and to continue existing in football for a very long time, you've tried. You're not injury prone. You're 25 years at this point, and you still have up to 10 years. If you're not injury prone, you still have up to 10 years to play. Ronaldo is almost 40 and he's still playing. So for Vinicius Junior, if he wants to play at the biggest stage and wants to continue doing this, because at some point he might get pissed and say it's just too much for me, I want to go to another league that is less racially abusive to me. So that might affect his style of play at Real Madrid and his performance. So for him to continue playing at his best and not having racial issues, he should find a way to be a bit calmer and just do what he wants to do on the field of play and not get fans agitated, especially the opponent fans. I think with that it should be.
I wish we have more time to really digest on some of these, but I think that this is what we call it a wrap. So a sentence, when we talk about Vinicius Junior, one more sentence that you can use in describing him and more like encourage people to be like him. What will you pick out in the life of Vinicius Junior that you think is exemplary, and the younger generation should more like strive to get to that level?
I think it's modesty. He is very modest. So despite the achievement, he's a very calm person and a modest person. Playing for the biggest club in the world, Real Madrid, comes with some form of ego, some form of good behavior. Although you can sometimes say that he usually exhibits some very funny attributes in the field of play, but the fact that he doesn't womanize, he doesn't carry out certain social vices, I think that's one thing that is worthy of emulation for young players. So you should look up to someone like this. And most Brazilians too. He is an idol for most Brazilians. He should be a mentor for a lot of footballers coming up, because Football is not about enjoying your wealth in a very weird way by going out drinking, womanizing. You should find a way to help people out and also be modest in your behavior, your character, and your style of play. So that's what we're seeing with Vinicius Junior at this point in time. His character outside the field of play is quite good. You barely hear about controversy of him fighting outside or in. Despite the old racial abuse, it usually happens on the field of play. But outside that, it's usually him go to the training ground, play his game, and also his religion is top of what he does on a daily basis. So goes to church and do what he wants to do. So we barely hear about his relationship issue or him dating multiple people. His love life is even outside. Like, I tried to check how his love life is like, but he's a very quiet person. It doesn't bring out things like that to the public, unlike players like maybe Lamine Yamal or things like that. So he's very calm, and I think it's something worthy of emulation.
Many thanks, Chukwu, for joining us this morning on Sports Extraordinary. I mean, Sports Personality, I beg your pardon. And of course, throwing the life of Vinicius Junior and the controversies around him, and what next for him in the nearest future. We hope to get you more involved, in our program, so you can give us those incisive, analyses going forward in club football. Arsenal, I mean, it's getting to the tail of the season, and a lot has been happening in the English Premier League. I'm sure your thoughts will be very, very meaningful in the coming days, so we can interact more. But thank you for joining us today on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, this is what I call it a wrap on today's edition of Sports Personality on Atlantic Television Network. Ekpo Temple is my name. We'll be back again next week for more interesting showdown. Please don't miss any edition of Sports Personality every Saturday. Have a pleasant day. Stay out of trouble. It's one game. Football without violence. Bye-bye.